Okay, so the most ridiculous news that I found on the internet, and it's been posted all over the place, is what we're going to be talking about today, which is Dr. Dre having to pay 300K a month in spousal support to his estranged wife, which means she left him. You know, they're divorcing and stuff like that, right? They're trying to split from each other, and she demanded that he pay her 300K. Well, he got court ordered to pay 300K. I'm pretty sure originally she wanted him to pay like a million or something ridiculous a month, and it opened up the question: do you think that's fair? In my opinion, it's obvious. No. If you are making your money from your spouse from a divorce, that's boneless. It's the most spineless shit ever. And if you think about it, right, we're always preaching, you know, equal rights and obviously the whole being independent and stuff like that, and not really codependent on anybody. And the argument that people use in court is like, oh, it's supporting a lifestyle. I am firmly against that. I feel like the money you support your ex-spouse with should be money that allows them to survive. You need food, water, shelter, and clothes, and the basic necessities, like things that you just need to survive. You don't need to support a luxurious lifestyle. I don't care how much money you're making. I don't care how much money you're not making. If you want to, this is very similar to a woman. It was like an Instagram model. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but yeah, basically an Instagram model was saying on an interview that she believes that after she breaks up with her boyfriend, he should be responsible for paying her rent and, still upkeeping her lifestyle. And I'm like, no, that's what comes with being with someone with money. That's just what comes with that. When you guys are not together anymore, then you need to go back to your previous lifestyle. That's just how that works. And my examples for this, if you guys agree with me, for those that do agree with me, right, is, let's say you are by yourself, you never get married, never date anybody, you just get your money yourself, and you have a really good year. You skyrocket into financial success. You are sent into orbit, and you are making like $2-3 million that year. Now, let's say the following year you decide to put all your eggs in one basket, invest that $3 million in the stock market into some stock that is just now starting up, and then it completely crashes and burns, and you have no money. But within this last year, you bought a house, a car, a nice car. You have a very nice lifestyle, but you're forced to downgrade when you no longer have the financial assets to support that. And that's something that happens when you're single. So why should it change when you're married? That's my question. Why should that change when you're married? It makes no sense to me. I believe that if the whole purpose of spousal support is to make sure that the spouse is taken care of while you guys are separated, then at least so you can make sure that they're not living on the street. Like, I feel like the cap should be 10K if you're making somewhere in the millions, because this is not to fund a lifestyle. This is to make sure they're not dead. It's very, very cutthroat, very simple. If you're not making that much money and stuff, then you can give them a couple bucks or whatever, and not a couple bucks, you know what I mean? Like maybe like $1,000 or something. It just depends on how much money you make, but it should not be an astronomical amount of money, no matter how much money you make. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be in the comments and saying, oh, but James, like, he has millions and millions of dollars. He's almost a billionaire himself. 300K is nothing. That's a lot of money. It's still a lot of money. He knows it's still a lot of money. It doesn't hurt his pockets. Of course it doesn't hurt his pockets, but it doesn't mean like, you should still have to pay that much money to somebody just because you're splitting. Now, I can understand if you won some sort of lawsuit, that makes more sense because there was a whole process with that and whatever. But this wasn't a lawsuit. This is just paying somebody because they used to be married to you. Gross. I'm against it, completely against it. And I'm not sure if you guys are too. This is a different breed of people though. In the world that we're in now, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like she deserves it, da 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 da. Not saying he's perfect. The dude definitely messed up a lot. But I feel like this is a situation that just highlights why people don't want to get married anymore. Now, I'm not saying that everybody is going to be like, oh, everybody's going to be mandated to pay $300K to their spouse if they divorce. But this was the most like cut and dry example of how much of a business marriage is, right? Like, you can weaponize a marriage. You can't weaponize dating. If you're dating somebody, you don't like them, you break up. Simple. Notice how no one's assets get messed with. You don't ask to keep the dog. You don't ask to take away like the house or whatever. Like, you can't, because you were never, legally bound to each other. When you're married, you are legally bound to each other. So if I have $20,000 of debt, guess who has $20,000 of debt when we're married? You do. If I have $3.5 million. Guess who has $3.5 million? We do. That's what happens. It's a business transactional move. And a lot of times when people get married, it's because they love each other and up until they split. And where you would think most marriages would be amicable, they're not, because typically one or the other goes about it very maliciously, and you can actually weaponize a marriage. You can aim for things that you can't aim for when you're dating. Like, I'd never understood why people stuck to just dating. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like I'd see people be together for 10, 12 years. They would be married. I mean, they wouldn't be married. They would have a bunch of kids together, though, and they would be happily together. But there was nothing like legally binding them together. So I'm like, why? Why not just get married? Tie the knot. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, oh, that's a societal norm. Makes sense. And, after I went through my divorce, I was like, oh, this is why people don't want to get married. It's like, if you could get married and, let's say things don't work out and you split, and like, the only thing you really have to worry about is if you've had kids with that person, cool, boom, take care of that. Then that's fine. But if you have to worry about paying spousal support, especially something ridiculous while you're separated, this is like just while you're separated. This is not like, basically he has to pay that until they officially get divorced. That's ridiculous. I feel like that is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Because you wouldn't be doing this normal. That's not a normal thing to do. If you're dating somebody and you break up, you don't have a check collected from somebody you dated. Like, oh, thank you for wasting my time. I need $20 for the rest of my life. Gross. No, that's not how things work, or should work at least. And that's definitely not how they work in the dating world. So it's so weird to me that this is happening. But it's a strong reflection of, what marriage actually is, unfortunately. People nowadays, it doesn't seem like but most people can sustain a longer marriage and stuff like that. A lot of people can't. The divorce rate worldwide is ridiculously high. There are people that are together that power through things and whatever, but marriage is scary just because it can be weaponized and ruin people's lives and stuff like that. But this is my rant. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that. Let me know in the comments down below. Definitely a really messed up situation. I actually feel for that dude. I don't even know him. Dr. makes a bunch of money. I mean, he Beats and all these other companies. He's probably a billionaire. Probably has several $1 billion. I don't know. His net worth is definitely up there. But $300K a month? Nah. No one needs that much money. You can live. $300K a month is like what most people would kill to make after going to school for like 12 years. Like, they would kill to make something like that. So $300K, and like I said, like that celebrity stuff, like obviously, it seems ridiculous because they obviously have way more money than any of us, but it just begs the question though, like, what is the point of spousal support, and should we be doing that? Like, should spousal support be given during a divorce? Like, should you be supporting your spouse while they're separated from you? Because that, to me, is bullshit. Completely. Especially if they're the ones that leave you. If they leave you, why should you be paying them while you guys are, away from each other? Now, also, too, like alimony. That is different than spousal support, by the way. Spousal support is just what you pay while you guys are separated and stuff, obviously, during the divorce until the divorce is officially over. But alimony is something you have to pay pretty much for however long until they can get back on their feet. And that's another conversation for another time. But to kind of just tap into that a little bit, I feel like the alimony shouldn't even be that much. It should just be barely enough so that they can get like a sandwich from the store, maybe have enough for like rent on a very, 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 very low budget place. And that's it. Because I'm a firm believer everybody needs to be making it on their own. You're an adult. No one should be holding your hand. You should be living life for yourself. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for my TED Talk. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm very curious to see how you guys feel about this, because this was tilting. So tilting.